Hi, welcome to Shelf Starters. I'm Rosie.
I'm Kate. Hi, everyone.
Today we're going to do the 1001 book tag, which we were actually tagged in a long time ago by Rosie. Thanks, Rosie. Sorry, this has taken so long. But yeah, we're keen to get started. Mum hasn't done a book tag before. Obviously I haven't really either. We've done like the original BookTube newbie tag, but we are not really that good at it yet.
I'm quite notoriously bad, and we should preface this with, you said today, whereas for me it's tonight, and I've just been out for dinner with my mum, prolific reader, my mum.
We're not prepared, is what we're trying to say. We're not at all prepared.
Not at all, and also it is the end of the evening as opposed to the beginning for me. Just putting that out there.
Let's shift the brain cells a little bit there. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, should we get started? So I will just read the questions, then we can just chat. So the first question is 1001 lists. Do you follow any book lists? It can be a prize list or a challenge like the Rory Gilmore challenge. And have you heard of the Rory Gilmore challenge?
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, do you follow any book lists or challenge?
Although that is a very good, I have to say, they have some very good books listed on that one.
He read a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, the ones I follow are the Women's Prize for Fiction.
Yeah,
obviously the Norton's anthology that we're doing our own selves.
Yeah, it's like not an official one, but obviously the Norton anthology itself is basically a list of books. So that is,
and we've launched our own personal challenge. And Booker Prize, I do follow the Booker Prize, and the Stella, which is the Australian Fiction Awards. I follow that too. Yeah. So
I think you follow more than me. Yeah, because I think the only one that I follow really closely is the Women's Prize for Fiction. And in that one, I really do try to read like every book on that list.
Yes, whereas I probably am not as good a follower as you in that I don't necessarily read every book at all, but I pick the eyes out of ones that I think I would like to read.
And what do you think about the Booker Prize? Because I sometimes, I want to like it, but a lot of the time I find
a lot of them are not likable.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I feel like my taste in reading aligns much more with the Women's Prize than it does with the Booker Prize.
Well, I guess one of the things is that awards are about rewarding people for experimentation, and that doesn't necessarily mean easy reading.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's just not what you can cope with at the time.
Yeah.
I think that's often the case.
Yeah. One that I would like to get more into is maybe the International Booker Prize, because I am, I do like translated fiction a lot, and I don't think I read enough of it.
No, I have, as you know, I did have a bit of a love affair with, in fact, exactly that, Sri Lankan and fiction. I did have a bit of a love affair with that, and you're right, it would be good to have a kind of because it's just if you happen upon them, really, as opposed to actually having a path to follow, and I think that would be a good thing to do. Definitely,
it would be. I just thought of one list that I did absolutely follow as a child, which was the BBC Top 100.
Oh, you did. Yes.
I had an actual physical printed out list, and I would check them off. I'm a very much a list person in all aspects of life. Really into that for a while. And that's how I read so many classics when I was quite young.
Yes.
And a lot of them don't remember at all, so I need to go back to them as a result. Next question. 1001 books. How many physical books do you currently own? How many ebooks?
Okay.
And
what do you have? Well, you have a space issue.
I have a space issue. I still think, though, even with that, I think I have hundreds of books in this flat. I have no idea how many I actually have physically, but there's definitely hundreds. They're everywhere that you could possibly put a book. There is a book. But the only thing I actually keep track of in terms of how many I own is how many I own that I haven't read. So I know that I do have 72 unread physical books somewhere in this flat.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. That's impressive. You know that. I have, on the other hand, a very different situation to you, because I have a library, a very large library to share with other people. And so obviously that library is very well stacked. largely by you, Rosie, because you've.
Yeah, I shipped back last year when after lockdown my book collection was getting out of control. I shipped 8 boxes of books back to Australia for Mum and Dad's library.
Yeah. And so now we have a healthy library that I don't know, I haven't counted, but I think it'd be safe to say there are over 1,000 books in that library.
Definitely, I think.
It's a very big space. And so we're very, very lucky.
Very lucky.
Could I say I've read all of those? Absolutely no, I could not. but which is great because I'm always adding. Today I just ordered 3 more. So I am
shopping later today myself. So yeah, it's not like we're pretty bad at self-control here.
Yeah.
A second part of that question was also, do you have any ebooks? And you don't read on a Kindle, but you do read on Audible.
But I do a lot on Audible, and in fact, I have to free up space because they're all kept on my phone. And
you can delete after you're done with them.
Yeah, I don't like to.
Oh, okay.
I actually like to have them and to have a record of what I've read, but I also like to be able to share them with other people. And so I really, really struggle with deleting. But yes, so I have, obviously I do that. I order a book on Audible every month.
Yeah, because it is a monthly thing. Yeah, so you probably you've had it for at least a couple of years, so you would have a good amount of books on there.
I do.
So I have a Kindle, and which is not that old, and already there's a lot of books on there because you just get sucked in with the like £1 book deals. Yeah. So I have 178 books that I haven't read on here, and 135 that I have read. So yeah, just over 300. Can I count? Yes, just over 300 books on the Kindle, and then on Audible, no idea, because I very much played the system with Audible when I first heard about it, and they had the like when you first sign up, you get an extra free book, or if you cancel the account after 1 month, they'll give you another free book to keep it for another month or something. So I did that by changing email addresses every single time. So I have many Audible accounts until they realized that people were doing that and they no longer let you do it. So it's hard for me to actually see how many I have because I would have to switch between many accounts. Yeah. But yeah, I also do probably listen to one a month as well. Because that is
it's a lot to do, and it's almost a non-guilty pleasure because you can do it while doing other things.
Oh yeah, on the tube. It's my favorite part of getting to work now.
It's almost incentive to do some of those things that you might not really want to do, such as going on the tube.
Or exactly. Otherwise, it's not that fun.
Or getting on the treadmill. In fact, sometimes when I don't feel the mood at all for going on the treadmill, I will go, but I've got a really good book. And so there's no other way I'm going to do that book unless I do it when I'm on the treadmill, because if I don't get on the treadmill, then I should do something like work.
Or actually,
read the book. So it actually works nicely. It's a good sign.
Yeah. Next question is 1001 books read. Approximately how many books have you read in your lifetime? Do you keep track?
Okay, so I don't. I know you do. I do not. And obviously I've been reading since I was, 5, and I'm now sadly turning 60 on Thursday. So that's a lot of reading. It's a lot of water under the bridge.
For someone who actually was an English teacher, does read a lot anyway. Like, you're not just the average person in that lifetime. Like, it's not an average person's reading in that lifetime.
Avid reader from a child, from childhood. And I would read, every night, just like, brushing your teeth. So you read a book. So it's pretty hard to do that maths for me.
I think definitely over 1,000.
Yeah, I think so.
Over 1,001.
I imagine.
I would think it would be interesting though for you to collate all the ones that you can remember reading. How
could you possibly remember all of that?
Yeah, well, that's why I keep track now, because I think it tells you a lot about your life, really.
It does.
Like what you're into at different times and things like that. I like looking back and saying, oh yeah, I was reading this in this year. Yeah. Anyway, I've had Goodreads since I think 2013. And I know that when I started it, like it gives you like books suggest books that you may have read and you say whether you like it or not. So you do add some books that you read before you start tracking them on Goodreads. But according to Goodreads, I have 2,041 books that I've read as of today.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot. and growing, of course. All right, next question is 1001 Arabian Nights. Have you read any stories from the Arabian Nights? Do you have a favorite? If you haven't read it, do you want to?
Well, no, I haven't. I have to.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. I haven't, well, not the actual original.
No.
I've definitely heard retellings, of course, and like Aladdin and stories like that I think come from there. I don't know. Also, I read a graphic novel, can't remember what it was called. Is it 1,000 Nights of Hero, 100 Nights of Hero, or something like that? That is a retelling of the Arabian Nights, and that was very good. But yeah, I haven't read the original. Would you want to read it?
Probably one day. I wouldn't.
It comes in. So I just got the we should show you. Give me a second, I'll show you. Okay, we're back.
If you don't rule it out.
I just got this because I can't help myself. And it's beautiful. It's like a coffee table book of all of the Penguin classics that are currently in print. So I can tell you that the Penguin has the Arabian Nights in 3 volumes.
Wow.
So that's how big it is. It's like 3 separate Penguin books. So you can get the full thing if you want to. Do love this book. I think it's very, very much worth having. Also it serves as a list, of course. It's all the list of penguins. So on the theme of lists.
Perfect.
Next question is 1,001 flavors. Do you have a favorite food or flavor?
Yeah. Coffee, followed by chili. Not necessarily intaken in that order, but
they're both things that are very harsh on your stomach when you think about it.
But they're not like you're having them.
Yes.
It's a sensation.
Oh yeah, you can actually feel. Yeah, that's true. I would agree. So yeah, we're very similar in our flavors there. I love coffee, although I gave it up recently, so that's a bit sad.
Yeah, that's never happening.
Any spicy food for sure. We're like a family of spicy food.
Yeah.
Also cheese. Can't live without cheese.
Yeah. Well, I could go without cheese actually, but
I could. Spices and cheese. Those are my favorite things. 1,001 pages. Have you read a book that is over 1,001 pages? Is there one that you recommend and is worth the time? What is the longest book you have read?
Well, I don't actually know the pages, but I am hazarding a guess that War and Peace is possibly.
It definitely is. I have that on mine as well. Yeah.
And
you've read it.
Definitely say that's worth the read.
Yeah, 100%.
Hands down. No issue.
It's possibly one of the biggest works of art, like the most successful, I think, ever. It is just like, because it covers so much. The characters are so well fleshed out.
It does. And no, there's nothing like Tolstoy, really.
No, there's nothing like that. It's such a unique achievement.
It really is. Yeah.
So yes, that's definitely over 1,000 pages. I thought that would be the longest one that I had read, but I went back through my Goodreads, because it does at the end of the year you get a summary of shortest book you read, etc. Turns out the longest one I read is a Stephen King, which is The Stand, which is 1,327 pages in my edition.
Now I'm imagining about 500 of those for me would not be worthwhile.
And actually I agree. I think that one was a bit too long.
Totally.
And I think he does have a version that's shorter. I think he then released like a more edited version.
I was just about to say, I feel like there is a place for good, judicious editing, not just books, but also films. Actually, also plays. I think
everything.
Yeah. Things need to be edited.
The other 2 longish books that were close that I do think were really great were The Eighth Life by Nino Hartishvili. It's a Georgian book that I think won or was on the list of the International Booker Prize, I think, something like that. So it's a translated work, and it is incredible, and it spans like the lives of all these women in a family throughout Soviet Russia and stuff, and the war and everything, and it's just really moving. I loved it. I was so involved with that family. It's a big family saga. And I thought that was great, but it comes in at just under 1,000 pages. It's like 900 and something. And then Cecilia by Frances Burney. Frances Burney is like the original Jane Austen.
Yeah.
Jane Austen inspired by her.
Right.
And that one's just over 1,000 pages. And it's just like a young girl out in the world, coming of age, trying to find a suitor and stuff like that. And I think she's just really funny. I find her books really funny. I've read this one and Evelina, and I really recommend, because I think what I like about long books is you get so much time with the character. You feel like you know
Absolutely.
them.
Absolutely.
And I think I prefer a long book to a regular size book.
Yeah.
I like really long or really short books for different reasons, but I think both of them are
I think I enjoy a really good short story because of the precision of it. Absolutely, yes.
Exactly. There's its own skill in having a short book that is like really immaculately put together.
Yeah.
So I that is amazing, and long works where you really get wrapped up
where
in the
you are
story.
immersed utterly in the lives of the characters, and it's a full saga. I love a good saga. Absolutely, yeah.
And then you don't want it to end, and you feel like it's long, but you want
sad when it's over, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. So actually, I think longer books and shorter books are actually better than normal books.
So that's like our thirst for flavors that really pack a punch. Same. Yes. We don't like the middle ground.
Yeah, very true. 1,001 buckets. Do you have a non-bookish bucket list?
Yep. It's a little bit bookish. So I've only ever been to Greece and the Greek islands, only like 2, for a very, very tiny amount of time. And I would like to go and spend a very long time and do some writing and kind of live in a bit of a colony, to be honest, a writer's colony. That is something I would love to do one day.
Yeah, that's great. Nice. I don't have anything really. Like I never had like a proper bucket list that wasn't books. I have plenty of book lists, but not a bucket list for life. I think only travel really. It's just I want to go to more countries.
Travel based, that's the thing. But I just can't imagine travel without the opportunity to read and write going with that, because to me they all go together. And in fact, if I couldn't go to Greece and do it all there, I would go to a place called Giroa, which is south of Sydney on the coast. So as my husband says, the G's. Greece,
the G's.
Greece or Giroa, either way.
What about also, we both wanted to do like the Deep South in a literary sense. Like
yes.
tour. Not for like your writing.
But more to do with what it is there, what that is culturally, and on that kind of deep, weirdly spiritual scale that is infused in the writing. And that, pretty much we're talking murder mystery kind of writing, awful dark tales that seem to emanate from there. Yeah, and I'd love to kind of do a geographical tour and investigate.
Yeah, we did a trip that was based around literature in the UK when I first came to the UK.
Yes.
And I think that is an awesome way to see the world, is to like do a literary tour of it, visit places that
it is an awesome way.
Were and like that.
Because what could be more exciting than to kind of tread on the cobblestones or walk around the mountains or the rivers of the places that you've read and feel what that writer has expressed for you. There's nothing more wonderful than that.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Okay, 1,001 numbers. Do you have a lucky number? Is there a story behind it?
No, I've never had a lucky number. I'm not a numbery kind of a person.
Yeah, neither.
More words. Words.
I like 7, but it's not particularly lucky for me.
Well, we apparently have had a history of a lot of 6s and 3s, but
in the family.
Yeah, as in our address always seems to have 3s involved and 6s involved. So I don't know. I don't know what that all means.
Do you have a favorite author and or genre?
Authors, I think, very difficult, because I do feel that goes in and out of where you're at in life. Yeah. And I mean, I have loved so many authors in various stages, you know, and I did have a really big kind of Indian phase, and I did have a very big Russian phase, and I've had a hugely Australian phase. So I couldn't really narrow it down to one.
I think it's too hard.
That would just be,
I think at the moment my current phase is Turgenev.
Yeah. Yes. I'm reading Fathers and Sons now.
Oh, you are? I just read it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, that's why I'm reading it. You told me.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, yes, I did.
Good to remember that. But genre, I think I do think that I really, when it all comes down to it, what I really, really do like is a good, meaty family saga where you go through the generations. I love those stories, pure storytelling at its most, you know, fundamental, in its most fundamental state. I still like that the most, to be honest.
So I think this has changed. I think if you'd asked me this last year, my answer would have been different. Like I might have been more in the like thriller, mystery kind of zone with the genres I was picking up the most. This year, I think I've gone back to classics. And I just think I'm so into them at the moment. I can't get enough. Yes. And it's just something that, well, it's classic for a reason. Like you're always going to be able to come back to it.
I think it's really hard to go past the classics. I think that's right. At the end of the day, there's something really comforting about returning to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I want to be surrounded by them. I want to have like a massive library that is just all classics.
Well, you know, your great-grandmother, literally that is, you know, she died with Pride and Prejudice in her hand.
Oh, that's nice. That's the nice way to go.
Yeah, she was as happy as anything. Right? She couldn't have wished for it to work out a better way.
No, I want that to be me.
Yeah.
Okay, 1001 activities. Do you have a favorite outdoor activity?
Yes, obviously, running with headphones with a book on my head. Yeah.
I guess same for me, but also walking. I'm enjoying walking a lot more in London. Like it's just nice to get some fresh air, like especially crisp fresh air in London, and walk around the parks and along the river and stuff. So yeah, I'd say that. But like, yeah, they're not very adventurous kind of like outdoor activities or anything. It's really just
no throwing yourself off a mountain or any of that sort of behaviour.
Yeah, we're never doing that, do we? I do like having like a picnic with friends in the summer.
No, I've never really enjoyed a picnic. I just find them immensely uncomfortable. And I feel that food should be digested at a table. It's just better.
But you know what else is Australia is just not great for picnics because we're so strict on alcohol.
There are insects. Well. There are insects and it's hot.
There's insects. You're not allowed to drink in parks. No. So like it's just food on the ground. Yep. In London, it's much more like
for us, the ground 9 times out of 10, it's a hot ground, and so just no. To me, I think of that as some sort of torture, and you know, I feel like I've got to a point in my life where I'm old enough to be able to just say I'd rather eat in a restaurant or something else. Yeah,
fair enough. And that's it. The last thing is tag some friends, but I think just basically if you haven't done this tag and you want to, please go ahead and do it. It would be good to hear everyone's answers. I think
absolutely. I'd love to hear other people's answers. You know, I would. I'd love to hear from you guys.
It tells you a lot about a person's reading habits answering those questions. I feel like it's a picture of who we are. Yeah. It's
a lovely way of getting to know other people, I think.
Yeah. So that was really fun. Thanks, Rosie, for tagging us. And hopefully some other people will continue. I know that there's a lot out there, but yeah. All right. If you want to answer some of the questions in the comments below as well, we'd love to hear as well. So
it'd be really good to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.